A massive audience, probably 3 or 4 people. And this is just a coffee break, just informal. People can say pretty much whatever they want. There is no specific topic here. We have myself, Rob Gordon. We have Michael Lucas. And my screen is bad, so if I mispronounce your name, that's why. I've got a cheap screen. Michael was just telling us about his venture that he has for political entities. He's in Chicago. Government and political entities he's building, including special districts and the like. We get back to that in a second. Jessica is someone I just met yesterday because she had a great rant about LinkedIn that I just loved, and we can talk about that too. and Paul, why don't you introduce yourself? I know you and I have crossed paths a number of times. Why don't you give us a quick intro?
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm doing this on my phone, so if it looks a little jerky and whatnot, just be a little forgiving. I do internet marketing, and I help out small businesses as much as I possibly can through my blog, where basically I give away the secrets of the SEO world to the people that have time to do it.
Okay, good for you. Good for you. And how do you get customers?
Well, basically, I've noticed that overall people are extremely lazy, and when they see how much work is involved in doing real, honest-to-goodness SEO, they call me and say, "Here, can I pay you to do this?" And my answer, absolutely.
Well, cool. I'm just inviting more people. I was kind of doing this because I was a little bit worried about getting more than 10 here. So, I'll just break because I want to tell people how I finally learned how to do Hangouts, and it took me forever. And I'll just kind of give you a quick tip on this because I want to encourage people to do their own. Google made the most counterintuitive thing in the world when they did the events and Hangouts. So here's the secret: when you set up a Hangout with an event, don't do the Hangouts thing at all. There's a little checkbox saying this is a Hangout on here. Ignore that, and even ignore the thing that says this is a Hangout. Just make it look like it's a picnic or something in the real world. This is really how you do it. This is insane. Okay. Then you send that out, and then people will register on there, and then use that to build your circle of people you're going to hang out with. So then all the people who said yes and maybe, you put in one circle, these are the people that wanted to come. And so then you have that list, and then promote it however else you want to do it. Then a few minutes, then this is the relaxed way to do it because it's frantic the way Google wants you to do it. Then you start your Hangout from your own profile. Don't do it from one of the communities. A lot of reasons for that, but they don't really work. You can't do a Hangout from there at all from your communities. So start it from your own profile, and then check the Hangout on Air box. And you can do this way before. And there's one part I forgot to do. You can do this way before the event, and then invite the people. And you can do this embed thing too, where you take the embed link, which is there's a little option at the very top of the screen, and then you can copy it into a space for Hangouts on your YouTube or on the event page. So it will be the YouTube video. So then people can watch from the event page. I haven't done that on this one. I don't think I have to. I can do it later. But that's the process. It's just much easier. So anyway, that was kind of an aside. I realize I'm kind of going at random here, and we can all get back to everybody's topics and talk whatever you want. But I'd like to talk about Jessica's rant because it just totally fascinated me. And it was about LinkedIn.
You're picking on me.
It wasn't really a rant. You called it. That was your words. It was just like some very insightful comments about LinkedIn, about how I think that Google Plus has kind of dropped the ball by not being more business oriented. But LinkedIn, which has been around for years and should be, really small business oriented, they're dropping it even more. which is just amazing. They must have something wrong with their development team. And Jessica, I don't want to misstate what you're saying, but one of your points was, and it's kind of my point, you can't get your hands on the data anymore. You can't download it in CSV format or even do decent searches. Could you expand on that a little bit? Because I might be botching what your point there.
Well, I've been on LinkedIn for 9 years, well before they got to a profitable business model, which they didn't finally hit till I think late 2007 or maybe early 2008. And it used to be that you got a lot of data from LinkedIn. So I have no problem with a business having launched software startups and having a few decades in building software in companies and a couple of turnarounds in there. My issue with LinkedIn is that they misrepresent information about what you can and can't do. They don't fix what they've already got.
In what way do they do that?
They've taken a turn in direction. So, for example, as recently as 2010, because I was launching oops, did we lose you? There you are. We lost somebody.
Did we lose somebody? Who did we lose?
There's one fewer person.
Still here.
So.
No, everybody's there. Go ahead. Things,
Okay.
by the way, things always go wrong with Hangouts, and you just got to deal with it. I've never been one that has not had a technical glitch, so just don't worry. If I drop out, just carry on without me.
So TM, yes, you can export your contacts.
Okay.
But the point being that in 2010, when you did an export, all those fields that are now empty in your CSV download used to be populated. Now they're not. Now maybe with the top level premium membership, which I'm not going to go pay $50 a month to find out, you don't get it anymore, because what LinkedIn wants you to do is buy the more premium memberships so that you can use their, their own CRM in the cloud. And I find that offensive. What infuriates me though.
Wait, so how much does that cost just to get the
I don't know. I was paying for a few years for the, I don't know, $10 or $15 a month membership, so I could get a couple of premium features. But what I ended up, when I finally did the analysis, the only thing I really got was who had looked at my profile. Well, you know what? I just really don't care. So when I pulled that back, it said that, well, you can, this is another thing where they misrepresent information. LinkedIn states that if you allow others to see that you've looked at their profile, your full identity, then you could see who looks at yours. No, you can't, because I tried that. I've turned it up just a couple of months ago. Okay, I'll no longer be an anonymous LinkedIn user if I look at somebody else's profile. So what do I get? I get maybe 2 people, and I'll say, well, there's 10 more that looked at your profile, but you have to upgrade.
Yeah, see, that's all just like, they're giving you features you don't want and then charging for it. It's
right, but
who
when you download
who cares
now,
about who looked at your profile?
Right.
And who cares about those stupid endorsements, to tell you the truth?
Oh, no, that's ridiculous. But for example, when I downloaded my contacts before I got rid of my premium membership, and I've got 11,000 or so, all I got was name and email address. I no longer got company. I no longer got, it was like, really? This is, let me see, close to useless, because I can't even sort or filter based on city, state, country. How about industry they're in? Anything.
Yeah, exactly, the industry. And this is what's driving me nuts about Google Plus also. Because people think it's a great thing to have followers, and it does allow you to get your posts a little bit more attention. But beyond that, it doesn't give you that much more good information. And I wrote a post about this, but Google doesn't let you see them. They don't let you see your own followers. What they do is you get a list. I get about 80 new ones every day, which is good. But they give you a list of like 5. And then I lost my window. Excuse me. I hate it. I'm talking to the wrong screen. They give you a list of about 5, and you get their pictures, and they tell you you have this many people in common, which, by the way, is irrelevant, because all they're telling you is the people who have followed the same people that you have followed, which anybody can do just by following the same circles. They should be telling you, this is a little complicated, who your friends have also followed. Like, your friends have also, how many people your friends have also followed from these guys. So you only get like about 5 of those. Then they put this thing in the bottom that says these people have also followed you. And there might be 20 in there. You can't really get to those at all. And then when it says view all, then you go to a big bucket where you see, I think, 5 or maybe 10 at the top of the most recent ones. And then the rest are dumped in this huge list at the bottom. All you can do is a mouse over with those, which you don't see that much on the pop-up. And then you can click to that and go to their profile, and then click again and go to the About tab and read it. And if that takes even 30 seconds, it actually takes more. It just, you do the math, it's impossible. You know, to go through 1,000 would take 4 hours. You have to have the search.
There is a way.
Go, I'm all ears, tell me.
So one of the things that actually has been a savior for me is that over the years is that you don't have to go through the interface they want you to go through.
Right.
If you're mousing over a link, that means that you've already downloaded all the information. It's just invisible to you in the web browser. But it's in a text file. It's on your hard disk already. You're just not seeing it. So what you need to do is you need to look at the source, save the source, and pull it out.
Interesting. Okay.
So, and once you get that, you can get to the profiles, and there are tools that are, ugly and really Unixy that you can go and grab the profile pages and get information from there.
But you still have to do them one at a time. Is there a way to do them in groups? I mean, let me give you an example. I don't follow.
Hold on a second. All you need to do is you need to say, "Hey, computer, here's this list of 1,000 pages. Go grab them. Go get a coffee, and it beeps when it's over, and you're done." So it's not that.
Well, that's a program, though. I mean, I couldn't say, "Hey, computer, do this."
Well,
you have a script or something that does this, or?
I mean, I'm a Mac head at heart. You can do it on any operating system. There's a lot more typing in Unix involved. Windows had this thing called Windows Scripting Host, which solved the problem very nicely, except it was so insecure. Microsoft says, "Please turn this off. Unless you absolutely positively need to use it, then make sure you're not connected to the internet." Apple has its own solution. They call it AppleScript. That one actually works, and you can run it while you're connected.
Well, that's really interesting. I mean, if you came up with a solution for that, that would be a pretty big deal. Let me give you an example of the problem you can't solve. I prefer to only follow Google employees when they follow me back, and quite a few do. But once I remembered some Google employee, I wanted to see if he followed me. Here's what happened. He had announced some kind of service, and I think it had to do with Hangouts, that he was specializing in. And I saw it when he followed me, but I think I got distracted and didn't follow him back at the time. And then so it got buried in the avalanche of stuff. And then I realized I have no way to search the people that follow me for even their jobs. So that just kind of, I think that's kind of weird. So I mean, we just lost him. That would be a good thing to do.
Actually, that would be a hell of a tool.
Yeah.
I think
the other one I should mention.
A lot of us would like to be able to extract the information on at least some of the circles that we've either put together or that we're following. I mean, certainly, if you've got an Android device, you have some of that data, but you can't. It's not useful information.
Yeah. The other thing I want to mention real quick is just because it relates to what you're saying, is there's an extension called Circle Scope. And it's only $5. And I'm going to buy it. I've got a laptop I want to set it up on. But it allows you to do a lot of stuff. Go ahead, Paul.
What was it called? I missed
Circle
that.
Scope. I think it was called Unfollow Unfollowers. It allows you to see the one that's free. Allows you to see people that you follow that aren't following you back and that kind of stuff. But he's done a real advanced version for $5 called Circle Scope. almost everybody should just buy it. It has functionality that should be in Google. What are you laughing about, Jessica?
I was just going to say, when I write some new software program, I'll talk to you about you putting a plug in.
Okay, I want to talk about the name you coined the other day, because I just connected with it. You said in the rant I mentioned that Jessica made the other day. She said the world needs a social CRM. So that is really right on. Could you tell us what you mean by that? And I'll tell you what I think it means, but you go first.
Well, there have been a lot of attempts at it, particularly in the last 2 years. And one of the reasons I pushed off doing anything was that I saw these different launches. I take a look at them. They really didn't work when I meet my vision. And I saw what Google was doing with Plus. And I thought maybe, why develop something if you're going to get immediately disrupted by Google? You know?
Of course.
If there's anything worse than building something wonderful for somebody else, it's getting disrupted by Google or Apple. So, but the thought is that
welcome to my world.
Yeah, well, guess what? So, been there for a while. So, I've been preempted by the feds. So, no bigger gorilla around. At any rate, my issue again is I don't own the data. I can't get my hands on the data. So I would like to know, am I connected with you in LinkedIn? Am I connected with you on Plus? If I want to do something, if I want to go ahead and search for you, I can find you across different social networks. Well, I can't do that right now. It's really arduous.
Gist? I'm sure you do. Gist?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. It did that. They just shut it down, and it was a little scary because you would see everybody's posts from every social network, their blog posts, everything. It was kind of a cool system. They never got Google Plus in there. Google probably prevented it with their API. Right. But I liked that because you could see, like, if you were following someone, you would follow the whole person, what they were doing all over the place. But
I find that, the people that I really like on Plus, I want to connect with them conceivably on Twitter or LinkedIn. I won't even talk about Facebook, but it's really arduous. That whole point you're bringing up, Rob, where you can't get your hands around the data in Google Plus easily. Yeah. Right? It's on a 1-by-1. Yet I don't want to put it out there. Here, come on, and here's my personal email address so that everybody that's out there in Google Plus, come on and spam me. Because I already get enough spam from LinkedIn as it is, since they do nothing about fake people. So,
well, here's something I believe, and even if it was, first of all, these social networks, everybody should know, is they're not designed to be efficient. They're designed to be sticky. They want us to hang around as long as possible on them, and they're kind of winning with me because I spend way too much time on Google Plus. But I'm trying to be more efficient, and that's kind of why I'm talking about this whole area. But what I would like to do, I'm doing some work on trying to define exactly what small businesses in their very early stages should do, and that includes me. And one thing everybody says is you really should have some kind of CRM, even if it's just a flipping spreadsheet. You need a CRM. Everybody does. Everybody does, right? I'm abusing Jessica here. I tried for a while to see if I could sort of hack in Google Contacts and use it as one. And a little too slow, a little too awkward, didn't really work. But here's what I would like, and this is not even talking about the expanded vision that Jessica has. I mean, just even within Google Plus, I would like to very, very quickly drill down to the kind of people I would like to meet. And, who's their employee? What industry are they in? Are they in my city, San Diego? Are they whatever? Just what are they interested in? And be able to get the list of those people. And then look at them, and then CRMs do a couple different things. They're really very basic. They basically have what you plan for the future. They have the information, the contact information, then what you plan for the information for that person, and then what you've done in the past already. And if that's in an organization, that's even more important because you have two sales guys talking to the same customer, whatever. But I mean, just for myself. So as far as planning for the future, and I set this up kind of in Google Google Contacts a little. I wanted to put their communication type. So so with Jessica yesterday, I communicated with her on a public post. The next thing I do when communicating with people is I write a private post to them. You know, and that takes the you know, the relationship or whatever up to this new next, you know, minor level. And then after that, you know, it can be an email, because when people get a communication on an outside system, it's more. And then this, you know, goes up from there: a phone call, an instant message, and then a hangout like this, and a private hangout where you go over things, and a real world meeting, whatever. So escalating the communications is what I wanted, to be able to plan that in advance, saying, okay, these are the people I want to contact by private message today, whatever. So that's what I'm looking. It seems basic, but I can't get there. So, any thoughts on that, or what do you guys do for your CRM, or how do you manage your customer data? I'd be interested in hearing what other people do. I'd be acting up.
Okay, I left the link up on the side. I'm using Sugar CRM.
Sugar always comes up in the conversations. Yeah.
So did you evaluate that? What do you
No, you know, I don't have a Google Apps account yet, just because money's so tight for me, but I have to get one.
Oh no! We're talking about two different things then.
Sugar CRM requires Google Apps account, I believe.
Sugar CRM. Okay, go to the link. It requires a link. Basically nothing. You're fine as is. If you can load VMware, the link goes to an appliance, and it's just your own little CRM server. Just download it and go.
So it's a.
Jessica's not a fan.
So I've loaded onto my own server, as you're saying. Is that correct?
Yeah. And that's about it. So
I would have I mean, I can do that. I do have that capacity, but I would have I would have a domain name someplace and load it there.
You could.
Okay, I'll do that then.
You can just run it locally if you want.
Now, does it? I would like it to integrate with Google Contacts. Does it do that, or?
I believe it does these days.
Okay.
So, there is a little network linkage to it.
Okay.
I have been.
And do you use this?
Neck deep in data entry for this thing for a while, so I haven't come out of my cave and been social much, except for this.
Okay. It says affordable. How much does it cost? Is it free?
$0.
Okay.
So no
That's
money.
fairly affordable.
That's affordable.
As a good friend of mine says, if it's free, it's for me.
Okay. Okay. And Paul, what do you use?
You know, I use my Gmail, and I'm just very careful about how many emails I send out a day.
Okay. There's a lot of good free services that do integrate with Gmail, but like I said, with me, once I've written them an email, that's kind of late in the process because I'm using Google Plus a lot for it. So I mean, that's after, you know. And then I realized the other day, some guy I'd been talking for a while, a potential investor, I didn't have his email, you know. So that's after, you know. But there's some good stuff. But Gmail is good. It's basic. And Jessica, what do you use now? I mean, it sounds like you're exploring all sorts of stuff.
I'm not exploring right now. I'm just using Outlook.
Okay, Outlook.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Are you using Outlook plain or just Outlook with Business Contact Manager?
I'm just using Outlook plain. I'm trying not to make it any more complex than necessary because I'm hoping it's not a long-term solution.
Yeah. Well, you know, and the other point about and here's another thing, and you know, the world needs a social CRM. We should be able to refer people to other people too. I do think Google Apps for Business does this. But if I wanted to sell, you know, if somebody said, oh, this contact would be perfect for Rob, you know, be able to forward them the contact, or I guess you can do that now, but the process would be awkward. But somehow get that information and somehow log the fact that it's referral from you. I don't know. That seems like that would be an element of a social CRM. Do you think so, Jessica? Or?
I would agree. And by the way, TM, I wasn't trying to give you a ration. When I said it was a pita, a startup that I launched in late 2008, which timing is everything, we were using sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And my head of
I know what you're saying. I gave up on sugar around that time frame too. I took a
okay,
second.
my CMO and then the director of marketing did nothing but whine at me, and the VP sales. I mean, I never heard so much whining from grown-ups in my life. And to me, it was like, well, if I just sat with it and worked with it, I'd get the scripts done and put the linkage. We could do something with the UI. Well, that's great. But the geeks were very busy building our product. The geeks didn't have time to go in there and make it glorious, getting into the underlying data model and everything for sales and marketing, who were a little bit technophobic. It's great for a technology company, but you do what you can. Anyway, so
years ago, and I'm talking years ago, and I'm showing my age here, but in the early days of the PC, I used a system that was called Telemagic. And I had a.
Yeah, I remember that.
Took your memory there?
Yeah.
You're going to show your age also, Jessica, if you even remember that.
I already said decades of software. I just keep saying how many. It was already plural.
I had an IBM clone of some kind. The hard drive was 10 megabytes. Yes, you heard that right, 10. It's smaller than most files these days. It was the most efficient system I have ever had in my life, before or since. I had Telemagic, which was basically a contact manager. It was all text-based, first of all. Telemagic, basically a contact manager. You could just whip through your contacts. The contact information would be at the top of the screen, and the log file would be at the bottom. So if you want to say what you said about this person, you press a key, enter a note, go to the next one. You could press a button, automatically call them. They didn't even have email back then, but I could press a button and send them an MCI mail, which was paid email. It was fast and efficient. I had what was that called? WordPerfect? Everything was text-based, so everything was fast. I've never been that efficient since. I had a single click menu on there, so I just click, and it would pop up whatever I want. I was 100 times more efficient than I am today. Now I dick around all day in social networks.
Well, see,
anyway,
there are individual contact management programs, I think, that are probably still really useful and not text-based anymore for the most part. But the problem is when you want to be able to share that information even within your company, even if it's a company of 3 people, or you want to share it with your bookkeeper, or
that's where it gets really complicated.
Right, that's where you get into trouble. So, for example, back in the 90s, the late 90s, sales and marketing wanted to use ACT. So my guy that led infrastructure came to me one day and said, I can't talk to Michael anymore, who headed up sales. He said, there's a problem with the database, and I'm just lost with it. And Michael's, and I went, okay, fine. So I went over and I took a look at it. I went, well, this thing is a single user system, and you're trying. Oh no. So what happened when you let sales and marketing pick out their own system? Now we've got 3 different people working in the sales group, and their data's not all working together.
Isn't that amazing that it happens in corporation? I mean, that's such a major point to miss.
It's traditional for sales and marketing, though. They're just, that's why in some IT offices you'll see the big circle with the red line going through it where it says marketing. No. Oh. Because it's marketing does a lot of stuff really well, but as far as systems infrastructure and picking out how it's going to end up working, they get in trouble.
Jessica, can I ask your background? You mentioned the feds have gotten in the way of some of your stuff. And it sounds like you've got a great background. I'd like to talk to you maybe offline sometime, but tell us a little bit about
yeah, let's not bore these guys, really.
Oh, a little bit. Give us give us a flavor.
No.
You don't want to?
No, I think we ought to hear about TM and
okay. You know what? I feel like I'm sort of hijacking my own coffee meeting. So I've talked about what I want to talk about. Didn't ask you guys what you want to talk about. So why don't we talk? TM and Paul, what do you guys want to talk about? What's on your mind? How can we help you guys? What are you guys thinking about?
Well, real quick, I see. I keep getting notices that people are still trying to join this. Is there any way to send them a link or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, where are you getting notices from?
From the events page.
Oh, crap. Could you send them? Well, let me go there real quick. Jeez Louise.
Okay.
And now I can't find it. Yeah, everybody can send invites, right? I mean, go ahead. It's in the upper left-hand corner. But let me find that.
I'm so new to Google, plus I squeak, so...
This is why I'm doing these a lot, because...
I think
That's a great expression. I like that.
Okay.
What expression? I'm sorry. Who are you seeing? I don't see any new ones. I'm seeing Jessica. Are you seeing them in comments? You're seeing them?
Yeah, in the comments.
I think they've all gotten
Austin.
them. Austin got one, I think.
Said he's still trying to join.
Oh, Austin says that?
Yeah.
Well, let's send him an invite. Because I wasn't going to make this last too much longer, but let's at least say hi to him. So,
Just, FYI. Well, officially, this is my first hangout, so
oh, cool.
Wow.
don't feel too newbie. I mean, I'm a Google Plus junkie. Don't get me wrong, but I don't have a camera on my computer, so I just figured out that I have a camera on my phone.
You're fine with that. That's fine. That's a fine. You might put it on a little stand or something and stabilize it, but I think it's fine. Here's what I think about Hangouts. I think I've been highly critical about Google Plus in a number of areas, but I think they absolutely have a game changer with Hangouts. I think it's going to change the world. It's better than Skype. Skype is a fee-based system for one. I think we've barely scratched the surface on the potential of it. Mm-hmm. People are going to, I've already seen yoga lessons happening now. People are going to be giving guitar lessons, language lessons, whatever, all sorts of business. It's going to be a boon for small business. It's going to make business non-local, which is big, which is major. And I don't think people even realize the implications of it yet. Go ahead.
No, I'm with you 100%. As a matter of fact, you see I see commercials for GoToMeeting and that software, and I'm like, why wouldn't you just go to Google Hangouts? It's free.
GoToMeeting, it's archaic. It's awful stuff.
Yeah, horrible.
I was.
But there's a budget line for it.
What's that?
But there's a budget line for it. Don't you understand? That's important.
I was involved with that Startup America program for a while. That is the subject of another rant. I've learned to loathe that whole program.
What to avoid?
Jessica, you and I have to talk. We hate the same thing. But they were using GoToMeeting or something, and this is ridiculous. And it's a pearls before swine technology. So, we sit here and we talk to the lowly peons below us. So it's just like, this is bullshit. Oh, I'm recording. I can't use bad language here, but you know what I mean. It's like, God, Google's nailed this. They've got it down, and except for the user interface, which they make so hard. But I mean, I know they keep improving the engineering. I listened to the sound off my speakers on this, and not too long ago, it would cause a horrible echo. And I noticed they figured out how to cancel that out. So it just keeps getting better. It's amazing. Anyway, I'm ranting. Somebody else rant.
The rant portion of the program. Allow me to rant a little bit about.
Yeah, please. Someone else's rant.
Okay. One of the things that I'm noticing, and the whole project that I'm doing, which is called Citizen Intelligence, comes out of an observation that in the political world, we're kind of in the land of the blind. We're missing a lot of basic information. Even when we think we have it, it turns out we're either a little mistaken or we're not taking full use of it. Even down to the basics of how many governments do you have? I mean, your address, how many jurisdictions does it go on to? And I ask these people, and most of the time they count them up and they go, yeah, I think I got 4. And then I go look it up off the Census Bureau, because we actually pay for the census to count all of the governments twice a decade, and they're usually wrong. I haven't found anybody yet who hasn't who haven't warned ahead of time. So most people get this wrong, then they go to the census themselves and try to get it. Then they get.
Here's another thing: some of those agencies are hungry for citizen involvement. These are just these buried little sleepy offices that nobody knows about. They're actually kind of happy to see somebody walk in.
Well, yeah, the census is very much like that. There's huge piles of data that is sitting there just crying out to be data mined, crying out to be analyzed, crying out, for indirect checks, so you can make sure the numbers are honest, and nobody's doing it. I mean, it's to the point where I go there. The Census Bureau knocks out governments in 3 categories. Your general governments, you're thinking your county, your municipals, and your school districts, and these special purpose governments. They don't even measure. The federal government doesn't apparently track the shapefiles, how extensive the territory of these special purpose governments are. They just say, too much trouble.
I'm slowly getting turned on to your application, Michael. It's you might have something pretty cool there. That's a good deal.
I was working for of all things a dental insurance company, doing tech support for them, and the server room was a little complicated, so I just sat there and said, okay, I'm going to do an inventory all the servers, and my boss looks at that and goes, well, I mean, if you have the spare time, okay, but who's going to use this? By the time I left that place, everybody was using it, because when you added a new column, it was a network effect. Somebody says, okay, this machine, what serial number is it? Go look. No, it's on the list. I did that 3 months ago, or I did that 2 weeks ago, and then people, the whole team started adding to this thing, and it became essentially a monster shared spreadsheet set up in SharePoint, and it was kind of a spinal column that everybody's organized their paperwork around. That's kind of what this is. It's the idea is to create that spinal column, set up these reports, and when you get people who are influential, they'll have like favorites. People right now, the Democrats in power, so Republicans are all rah-rah about reporting unemployment by true unemployment, the real unemployment rate, U6. But when Bush was in power, it was the Democrats who were talking about U6. Then they
sure, and that's a huge issue to me.
They switch,
and that's where that was the point I was trying to actually make on that Paul Krugman thing I posted, just about
we don't disagree on that, by the way. I mean,
I agreed with your point. I agreed with the point. I don't think I answered your question. I just wasn't in the mood. But your last point was it shouldn't be government or private sector. It's who can get this done the best. Which is that's totally pragmatic. I totally agreed with that. But the number of people, the number of people outside of the workforce, of which I think I'm one, it's massive. It's more than the regular workforce now, and I don't think they're measuring it right.
No, and the solutions are going to end up being that people are going to have to start a lot of business, and we're going to have to hire each other. that's going to be our out. We'll pull ourselves up our bootstraps, because honestly, the way things are right now, it's not healthy. People on the left don't think it's healthy. People on the right don't think it's healthy. And honestly, the differences between left and right in terms of diagnosing what the problem is, not that big. Yeah. Now, try a solution, measure it, see if it actually works. If it doesn't, try something else. This is not rocket science, but people aren't doing the measuring part because you don't have the basic information. And I called up one of these special districts, just a local one, and I said, hey, do you guys have a website? And he was panicked. Somebody had called him up. Somebody had asked him for the most basic of information, because that just doesn't happen. And that's kind of a little spooky.
What kind of special district was it? Was it water or
It
something?
was the East Chicago Waterways District.
Yeah.
So,
One of those water districts, real sleepy little things.
I mean, Northwest Indiana, if you're not pumping and you're not getting the water out, it's pretty swampy.
Yeah.
So water.
Just gotta keep an eye on the level of the lake, you know. It's like-
Yeah, it's,
and then collect your check and your pension, which must be nice.
well,
No,
back in the day, this used to be badlands because nobody wanted to go into the swamps. Some Dutchmen went and started draining the swamps, and then they sold their cheap swampland for 10 times the value. And thus Northwest Indiana was born, at least my little corner.
Yeah. Listen, guys, I am purposely keeping these. I say I'm keeping them under a half hour. We've already gone way over. But I'm planning to keep doing these every Tuesday and Thursdays. I'm going to change the format a little bit, though. Starting this Thursday, instead of just informal coffee break like this was supposed to be, I'm going to do topic-based discussions.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if I can get your thoughts on what. And it's going to be called the Let's Talk About series. So instead of getting an expert that talks about, we're just going to get together on a given area and kind of share what we know about a given topic. We did that today about CRM. I kind of hijacked my own coffee meeting here. But what topics would interest you? What would you guys like to talk about? Silence.
Getting a team.
Crickets.
Yeah.
All right.
Finding other people to fill out your roster. That's
I love that one, Paul. I love that one. We're trying to do that. I have a group called Virtual Brain Trust Cooperative, and that's what we're trying to do. And the idea is that everybody will have their own private advisory team, and that team is supposedly, in theory, is totally dedicated to your success. It's a tough thing to set up, but I'm doing it. And then you would be on a team for someone else dedicated to your success. I've got a team now. They're helping me quite a bit, actually. So I'm totally game on that discussion. But talk to me about that. And if you want to join DBT, it's a private community, and you're more than welcome to. But other
I have an invite. I just have a request for an invite in.
you should be in. I'll look. I haven't done it then. You should be in, but I'll double check on that. Other topics, Jessica, what would you like to talk about?
I think possibly if it's a small business coffee break, wouldn't you want to focus in on the types of not only filling out a team, but outsourced product services for the small businessman? Whether or not that's a virtual assistant, whether or not that's an online virtual bookkeeping or bookkeeping service. I mean, anything like that, just basic nuts and bolts.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting a specific, but more.
Okay, no, that's good, because that's you and Paul saying the same thing, and it was sort of my interest too. And
Right.
TM, what are your thoughts on the next topics we should talk about?
It's fine.
That's fine. You like that too? Okay, that wasn't what I was thinking, but I can do that. Okay, well, cool.
Paul?
Last minute rants or talks. Like I said, I kind of hijacked my own coffee meeting today. So, anything else on anybody's mind before we close this one for today?
Paul, does that work for you too?
Yeah, I do a lot of local speaking engagements. What I find that a lot of small business owners want to know about is how to market themselves. I mean, that's the request that I get all the time. Why do I need to be here? How do I do this? And to be quite honest, at least in the Sacramento area where I am, Google Plus is not a big deal. Although I've been standing on that soapbox for almost 2 years now. People are just not getting it. I mean, from a small business point of view, how important Google Plus is to their business and their visibility of their business online, they don't get it.
Yeah.
And that pains me.
That is weird. Do you have any theories as to why that is?
People are so unbelievably resistant to change. I've invited a huge number of people on and told them, look, I'll send you a circle with 500 local people on it, so you get you started. They're local consumers, local business people, that sort of thing. You can connect with them real quickly, and
Nice.
they're intimidated by it, and I don't know why, because it's not like Google Plus is radically different from Facebook, but they're so closed in on their little Facebook world that anything else is just radically foreign to them.
Have you tried introducing them to Hootsuite?
Hootsuite, TweetDeck, I've tried to kind of run them through those types of multiple posting systems, and they seem to latch onto that. But then again, they understand how important Twitter can be, but they don't use it and they don't post on it.
Have you tried emphasizing for those that have bricks and mortar that they at least get a Google local completed?
Yeah, I pound on that all the time. In fact, if you ever have a chance to take a look at my blog, I mean, I'd say about 30% of the posts that I make are why you need to be part of Google Plus. Period. Either Google local. I've done a lot of stuff on authorship because that's hugely important.
Yeah. You're right. A lot of them are hidebound. I did a post on my personal blog about, because I know a lot of small business owners in the technology arena for services in Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm in Virginia Beach right now, but at some point I'll be back home in Dallas, even though, by the way, guys, I'm from Chicago originally, so enjoying some of the conversation about Northwest Indiana. But anyway, yeah, the swamp. One of them has some college kid redo his website. He's got a ridiculous URL. And here it is a year and a half later, and he still has lorem ipsum whatever on his blog. Another one does nothing at all about, it looks like his website was done in 1998, and yet they're spending a huge amount of time going out to socials, golf tournaments, trying to sponsor breakfasts at different country clubs. I mean, whatever, churning and churning, spending money and scurrying, trying to build business, and yet they're completely ignoring the fact that the world's starting to change and there's more and more searches for products and services over the web. It's not to say that that in-person trust element shouldn't be there. I'm not trying to diss that. But it's also critical that you understand you need to be ruling the air for local also, because otherwise you're ignoring a part of some business that could be coming your way. Some of these guys, they won't come up in a search unless you put in their name. Right. They won't come up. I've tested it.
There is there's something that I noticed about the even the most hidebound of local peoples. They all trust the Chamber of Commerce. And, one of the things that is at least a potential option is to partner with the local chamber and say, look, I'll cut your members a deal. You get to give them discounts. And for all the members, say, I won't do one guy and go retail one by one. I'll do them all. And then you can either, well, how you do the financials of it, there's a number of ways to skin the cat. But I would think that if you're introduced via the chamber that they're already paying money to, that you might have a better reception.
Well, it's absolutely true. Although the chambers, at least in my area, are shrinking horribly quickly, and it's really just the old school businesses are still in the chamber, at least what I've seen.
Yeah.
And
the internet is killing all these old business associations.
Exactly.
Because what they used to offer was exclusivity. That was the main thing. If you join us, you can get contacts with all these other businesses, where there's just too many easy ways to get that now. So the real world events are great and whatnot. But you're right, Paul. They're shrinking. Yeah.
Well. Anyways, as far as Hangouts go, an idea might be to do a marketing hangout, or an authorship hangout, or a get to know Google Plus for your small business hangout, or something like that as topics.
Yeah, those are good ideas.
We could all help people with that.
That sounds great. I've got to run. Anybody else?
No, yeah, I got to run too.
Parting thoughts. I totally enjoyed this, and talking to you again, Michael, and Paul, meeting you in real life or semi, whatever this is called, semi-real life.
Yeah.
and Jessica, connecting with you. I hope we get a chance to talk again real soon.
Okay.
So thank you, everybody, and have an awesome day.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye.